Hey, Cleaning Nation, Mike Campion here with Jackson Pinky Pinkowski. I don't know if he's shaved or got a haircut, but he's looking younger and sprier than usual. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe he's lost a little weight. I don't know. Whatever it is, he's sitting and somehow still has a spring in his step. So for those of you guys that don't know, Jackson is our marketing guy. He does the coaching and does the with you kind of, he's the closest touch point to our clients for all the marketing and helps them get pretty good results, quite frankly. So that said, most of the time when we're here, we talk about marketing and how to get the leads to come to you. Today, we're going to finish that thought with what to do with when you get the leads, how to sell the leads. And it'll be fun because I do more of the sales training in our space and Jackson does more of the marketing. And usually on this one, I'm kind of interviewing him on his marketing ideas. And this one, we'll go the other way and I'll talk some sales and Jackson can be a pain in the butt and poke fun as he sees fit. So the big thing on the sales, and we'll kind of talk a little different on residential versus commercial, but conceptually, the foundational thing is exactly the same, which is the big mistake people make is they want to talk instead of listen. So it's a lot of, and we all say, oh, I don't do that. But then our people bring their sales call recordings and they do exactly that. Even when they swear, no, the guy talked the whole time. So when you are selling, the temptation is when they say something like, our people are inconsistent. They miss this all the time. We want to go, well, we never miss stuff. We're really consistent. We have and we want to start selling our stuff. But the goal of sales is shouldn't be to get them to do the thing that you want. And even if that was your goal, telling them how great you are at it isn't going to work because guess what? All of your competitors are doing the same thing, right? It's not like you're going, our people are great. We don't miss things. And your competitors are going, yeah, we are a little sloppy. So if you want someone that does good work, we're probably not it, right? Everybody says the same thing. So if they talk to 2 or 3 vendors and everyone says, we're the best cleaner. Well, of course, if they talk to 3 people and 3 say they're the best, 2 of which are either mistaken or wrong. So it's really important instead of talking about what we do, we ask questions and listen. And what that can look like is questions. There's a superficial pain, which is what you and your competitors are probably going to get. There's the consequences of that pain, which your competitors will not get. And we want you to do that. And you want to do that. And there's the consequences of those consequences. So the initial pain would just be, or the initial question would be, pretty innocuous. Hey, Jackson, what made you invite me out today, man? What's going on here? And almost always they're going to give you, and this is all residential and commercial so far. Both of them are going to give you a pretty generic answer. Well, they missed this, right? I'm unhappy. There's something wrong with my current situation. Like the cleaners don't do this, or they did something I'm unhappy with. And the salesperson in us, or the bad salesperson in us, wants to jump in and go, oh, we're great at that. We won't do that. I can understand. So kind of the worst thing is immediately selling and telling them that whatever the guy they're doing now you won't do that because guess what? The guy that they have now, he was in the same conversation with him 3 months ago and he said the same thing that he wouldn't do it. So you saying you wouldn't do it isn't really going to be encouraging to that guy. The next thing they'll do when they don't know what to say is recap, right? So Jackson will say, well, they used to be really consistent, but it's been a couple months and they've kind of fallen off. And I'll go, totally get it. That sucks when it sounds like what I hear you saying is they're falling off. And they're like, yeah, I just said that. So be careful of that because it's comfortable for the salesperson because he doesn't know what to say. And he doesn't want to just start selling. Like he's a little better than, the new guy's just going to start selling. We do this. We're great. We're cleaning. He's going to start dancing. A guy that's a little more that's a little more sophisticated knows that ain't right, but he doesn't know what to say. So he's going to start recapping. But could you imagine if Jackson and I were just hanging out and I'm like, hey man, how's your day, dude? And he's like, good. Me and Gabby are doing this and just got back from that and had a good day. And I went, so what I hear you say, Jackson, is you and Gabby are having a good day and you're going to do this today. And you just got back from doing that yesterday. You go, are you out of your goddamn, what's wrong with you, dude? Are you like, what's your problem? But in salespeople, we do it. So, what you do want to do is ask a good question. So we're going to get into that, but I've been talking pretty much nonstop. Jackson, what am I missing? What questions come up? What have you experienced that aligns or doesn't align with what I'm saying? Give us your perspective.
Yeah, I think everything you said is spot on. My brain always goes back to situations where I had people in my house selling me things, and especially from a consumer standpoint, there are people who will want to take action, right? And there's no better way to bum those people out or to get them away from you than falling into those traps of like immediately selling or just regurgitating what they said, right? A lot of times I think people are just uncomfortable with I feel like people when they, especially when they regurgitate, like, "Oh, I understand this is what you're saying," it's because they're waiting for their brain to catch up into
Mhm.
what they're going to say next. And that's okay if your brain's not caught up. Like, just be okay with the thinking or the silence or moving on to the next thing. It doesn't have to be bing, 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 bing. It's not, you're not Stratton Oakmont here. You're not pushing schlub. If you don't know what Stratton Oakmont is, it's Wolf of Wall Street kind of thing. But um, yeah, be comfortable with kind of just progressing through that slowly and just being like a human, not a robot in that process.
Man, you hit on something I wasn't going to hit, but we'll give a little bonus and we'll get back to the questions. Silence can be really powerful. It is okay to be silent. And I would say 70% of what mediocre to poor salespeople do that doesn't serve them is because they're trying to be comfortable and not be effective. So comfortable is making the person like them, right? And I can, most salespeople are high extroverts, right? They like other people. That's why they go into sales. And they'll say stuff like, I could sell ice to an Eskimo. What they really mean is everybody likes me. Everybody's like, oh, you're the best. I love you, and says all sorts of good things. But I bet you if we looked at their real numbers, it's not really great. And they're not even selling heat to an Eskimo, never mind ice. So what they're really saying is, I like people and people like me. And we have really good conversations that everybody feels good about. And then I leave and they say, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm totally in. Can you leave me some brochures and I'll talk with my wife or do whatever and we will call you back. And then he goes back to the boss and boss, I got another one. He's going to call back. And then that guy doesn't call back. But then there's another guy who he's going to call back and we can, and I'm not saying they never call back, but they just miss a lot of opportunities. And we've already talked about one of the main things people do talking is one of the things people do to make people comfortable. So instead of just being silent when I'm trying to think of a question, it's a really good point, Jackson. It makes me wonder, when's the last time your cleaner did that thing, whatever he just said, right? So you see how we just changed the summary. So what I'm hearing you say, Jackson, is your cleaners have become inconsistent. A healthy question would be, when you say inconsistent, that's a really interesting term. What do you mean by that, Jackson? Well, yeah, let's just role play it. So we'll go. Actually, let's do it twice, Jackson. Got homeowner who's invited, and typically for a homeowner, and we could do commercial as well, but I think Jackson's probably more familiar with the residential side, and the concepts are exactly the same. Typically, it's going to be a lady, but we'll just pretend Jackson's the man of the house, the decision maker. His wife's not there. Very rare in residential, but it'd be awkward for Jackson to do a girl voice, so we're just going to roll with it. All right, so I'm going to say the same thing twice. First thing, I'm going to be, and I'm going to go a little over the top so you can kind of see, be like, okay, I've heard that. I'll kind of be typical salesperson who wants to be comfortable, wants you to feel good. And then we'll role play it again with a little more effective. And I think that'll be the most helpful use of our time. So, hey, Jackson, I'm Mike. Mike's Cleaning. I'm really excited that you invited me out today. So tell me what's going on. Like, how can we help?
Hey, Mike. Yeah, thanks for coming. I'm kind of just exploring options for home cleaners. I work from home. I don't have a lot of time by the end of the day to clean up, and I'm just getting kind of tired of picking up all the mess. I had home cleaners in the past. They weren't really worth it. Just kind of exploring my options here.
Oh my gosh, man. Well, I totally get it. If you're home all the time, it must be filthy. And I'm sure that's really driving you nuts. And we've had so many of our clients had bad home cleaners before, and they're so happy that we have us. So we're going to make 100% sure, Jackson, that whatever problems you have with them, we're going to make sure you never go that. So, what do you think?
I hate that so much. That's like I don't even respond to that. I shut the door. They're not even coming in. That's like, I mean, you insulted my house. You said like I'm sure it's disgusting. Like it's not really not that bad. I just have a lot of dog hair, man.
So those of you on the podcast that can't see Jackson, his face was so disgusted with it. He had a fake smile plastered on because he's a nice guy, but I could see in his eyes I'd like to think Jackson and I are friends. He's still looking at me like he wanted to throw up.
That was so bad.
We were faking. Jackson's still not taking it. All right, we got to role play the good one. Jackson and I aren't going to be friends no more. So for some of you going, I never do that, and I get it. Keep in mind we're taking it down for time, so I understand. the energy is what I wanted you to hear. I understand you wouldn't have a 1 minute sales conversation like that, but did you hear my puppy dog energy of, oh my gosh, it's going to be great? And a really superficial listening, right? Like what Jackson said, I didn't really care to understand it. I just was like, it's going to all be great. We're going to be amazing. And I want you to like me. And paradoxically, it really pushed Jackson away. So I understand you're going, I don't do that. I know, but many salespeople are probably doing 70 or 80% of that over a longer period of time. But hopefully you heard the energy, and go back and replay it if you didn't, of I'm just here to please. I really am not here to understand what's going on. I just want you to like me, and I want to feel good. And maybe you sign up, maybe you don't. But, and again, Jackson was smiling, even though he was full of repellent. You know, he's a nice guy. So he wouldn't have said, get out of my house. You make me sick. He would have said something nice and made me feel good. And I would have been on my way thinking that was a good lead. And Jackson would be like, oh my gosh, I couldn't have got that guy out of here fast enough. Hey, Clean Nation, Mike Campion here. One of my least favorite things about these podcasts are we found that people love the show and they love the information. But when I talk to you guys in person, stuff doesn't get done. People love the podcast, but they don't take any action. If you'd like to actually implement this and get this done in your world, we have a whole team of people that do exactly that. If you go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, you can book a time with either myself personally or one of our teammates to at least help you come up with a plan to actually implement and change your life. So if you want to go from getting these good ideas in your head to getting them in your life, just book a free call with myself or my team, growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. And we can go from this one-to-many format to one-to-one and really get you some results. Excited to talk. Okay, let's walk through same thing. Jackson gives, whatever answer you like, but I guess a similar one would be helpful to kind of apples to apples, and we'll see what it could sound like. And again, I'm only going to go for a minute or two so we don't beat a dead horse. So it'll be a little quicker, but we'll hear the energy and just hear how you feel reacting to it. And Jackson, I'll let you kind of tell me what pieces you like, how you felt and why, and that can help. All right. Hey, Jackson, Mike, how you doing, man?
Hey, Mike, I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for coming over today.
Appreciate the invite. You got a house. We need money. I was hoping we could sort something out here. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're kind of exploring options for home cleaners. I work from home, so I'm home all the time, and I don't really have time at the end of the day to tidy up as much as I'd like. We had home cleaners in the past. It didn't really work well with the schedule and with the dog. So we're kind of just trying to see what might be a good fit for us here.
All right, I heard like 3 or 4 things and I get easily confused. So let me tell you what I heard, and you can tell me which of those you think is the most important. First, I heard you kind of just looking for options. So I don't know what that means or how you'd like me to fit in or not fit into that. 2, you work from home. So that seems to be an important part of the cleaning. So if that's important, let me know. 3, you had some cleaners that you just had a bad experience with and you'd like not to have that. A, did I get what you're saying? And B, of those, which would you say is the most important? And tell me more about why.
Yeah, genuinely, you got it. And I guess like of all the options I gave, it can really boil down to I work from home, so I spend most of my time, up in my office, and by the time 6, 7 o'clock rolls around, the last thing I'm thinking about doing is cleaning up my kitchen or cleaning up the dust bunnies and the dog hair. And I guess the reason the cleaners didn't work well is they didn't integrate well into the fact that I worked from home. So that was kind of just the problem we ran into there.
Okay, we can talk about both, but first I want to make sure you get your problem solved of having a workspace that you feel is appropriate for what you need to be done. Then we can kind of talk about the logistics of how to not be annoying. Maybe I'm just a dumb guy, but what happens if at the end of the day you're exhausted? I would be, like, heck with it. I'm not going to clean. I'm just going to watch TV. Would it be that big of a deal, or why is it so important to have the house clean every night, or for you to not, why not just let it go and just deal with it?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's kind of what happens now. Is like it comes to the end of the day. I know I should clean, but I'm just so bored. The last thing I want to do is clean. So I instead will sit down and do something else or just kind of veg out. And yeah, it's not like the house is going to fall apart or anything, but it bugs me and it becomes irritating. And then I get frustrated at myself. I get frustrated in that, I have to clean the house, and now I'm spending like my entire weekend instead of doing something else, I'm cleaning, or I'm afraid to invite people over and I get, junk everywhere. I'd say like crap everywhere, really. Yeah, it's just annoying. It gets annoying. So it's like a spiraling snowball, basically.
So we'll stop there. Hopefully the big differences you heard is if we kind of had AI tell us what percentage of time I talked versus Jackson talked in the first scenario, probably 70-30 me, because I feel comfortable talking. That makes me feel good. But guess what Jackson likes? Jackson likes the sound of Jackson's voice, right? As most folks do. So we both like the sound of our own voice, but I'm the salesperson. So I feel like I get to shut Jackson up, which doesn't make him feel great. Also, it was highly focused on we and what we do. You know, we're the great, we're going to do this, and here's how we can fix it. And I would imagine, I'll let Jackson speak for himself, but I would imagine most people in that situation wouldn't feel like they cared or understood their problem. It's just like a barrage of noise coming at them that they're trying to like fend off. The second one was a slower pace. You might have said that was good or not good, but hopefully I didn't sound like a salesperson. And again, I'm gonna let Jackson fill in how he actually felt. But the goal is for him to feel like this guy gives a crap about me and he's trying to understand. And I would at least say I'm very confident in the first conversation. We didn't have a real conversation. It wasn't even a conversation, it was just me talking. And Jackson got a word in edgewise and I shut him up and started talking about how great we were. So there was no chance for any conversation, never mind a real conversation. The second one, I felt like Jackson was really sharing what was going on with him, right? Like I asked, it wasn't a genius question that you guys are like, oh my God, I got to write that down. It was just a curious guy. Like he said a lot of things. I'm like, help me understand that. Why is that a big deal? And hopefully what you noticed was the silence. There's a couple times he took a pause like humans do when they're thinking and a salesperson with a job, blah, 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 blah. But we didn't. We just let it breathe. And he kept telling me reason after reason after reason. I'm like, you know, I was looking for one, dude gave me four. So at that point we could have dove into, it just bugs me. I don't clean. And you see what I'm saying? The other thing is we give him space. So the first salesperson, instead of saying, why not just let it go? Would have gone the pushy way. Oh my gosh, Jackson, I can see that. If you get off cleaning or you get off work and you don't want to clean, that's you and you can't deal with that. Like we're going to make it like he's going to kind of just push in on that. I went the other way. I backed off. Why is that such a big deal? Why not just let it be dirty? Because if Jackson tells me why it's a big deal, it's a goddamn truth. But when I tell him why it's a big deal, I'm just some yapping salesperson. Oh my gosh, Jackson, you can't have that. And did you know that when you have dust in your home, it's going to increase the like even if it's good, like stress goes up and anxiety. Like Jackson's just like, please shut up. But when he's explaining to me why it's so difficult or frustrating, you know, he doesn't think anything of him. You know, he thinks of me. I'm a genius. He's like, that guy's the best conversation. And it's just Jackson talking. All right. That's my take on it. I would love to hear how you perceived and experienced that, Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah. And if anybody of you think, listen to this, I'm making this up, but that's true. This is like what I would talk to a home cleaner about. Those are my problems. Right. And just like Mike said, you give people like to talk about what's going on. And that entire time during Mike's second conversation, the second time, I felt like instead of him trying to sell me something, he was trying to figure out like what a good plan of action might be to help me. Right. You know, not once did he sell anything or did he go over explanatory. And yeah, I did all the talking. And when I do all the talking, again, you end up getting the real heart of what the problems are, and you get a bunch of useful information on really why they're even looking for cleaners versus you just trying to force something on them. Because as soon as you do that, then everybody gets defensive and nobody wants to actually take any action. But when they're coming from the heart of what the pain is and what the problem is, and you're genuinely just like, hey, yeah, let's figure out what the root cause of it is and let's stomp it out kind of thing. It's just so much better.
Yeah. Thank you. I think that was really helpful from the consumer's perspective, right? Because as owners or salespeople or whatever hat we use, we kind of perceive it from ourselves and we all buy stuff, but it's nice to hear a real life person who is kind of doing selling with like, here's how I felt. So just to sum up, I'll give you a couple things just to take away. One, so now we'll get everyone's experience. Like I was kind of saying what I thought happened. Jack said how he felt on the first one, even though I was acting, the first one felt like a lot of work. Like if I did that all day, I thought I would be exhausted because I'm dancing and I'm smiling and I'm trying to like please everybody. The second one, Jackson was doing all the heavy lifting, right? As opposed to me trying to tell him what's up and guess what he wants to hear and then try to say that thing and then pivoting if he doesn't like it. Like that's just so much work. Whereas just really trying to, just like Jackson said, he's like, he just felt like he was trying to understand the problem. That's exactly what I was trying to do, which is a lot easier to be curious and go, tell me about that. Why does that feel? Or how would you do? Or what, help me understand. Or who else does that affect? Or why do you feel that way? When's the last time you felt that way? Where in your body did you feel it? If you keep feeling that way, how's that going to change? So you want to have like lots and lots of questions at the ready. And so first thing, if you feel tired at the end, like you're doing all the lifting, sometimes we can get this false sense of I did a good job because I worked really hard. It's like, well, maybe. And if you, at the end you feel like I really helped that person, I really got to know him and understand him, and more importantly, he got to understand what his pain was. And yeah, so first thing I want to leave you with two things. One, if you feel like you're doing all the work and the heavy lifting, It can feel like you're doing a lot, but you're doing a lot of activity with not a lot of result. It should feel like a lot of silence, right? Ask questions and listen, and just you can let it breathe. Like you leave a beat to really think through a question. 50-50, Jackson's going to give me more pain and more stuff that I need to understand that he needs to say. And the cool thing is he was selling himself, right? In the first one, I was selling him. We're great. We're going to do this and your life's going to be better. And he probably felt like, I don't know if it will or not. That's what the last guy said. He had a lot of going on. But when he said, well, at the end of the day, I know I should do it. And then I just don't. We let it breathe a little. He's like, yeah, that's really annoying. And then I let it breathe a little. He's like, yeah, it's a snowball effect. And I let it breathe a little. He's like, yeah, this is really a problem. And on the weekends, I'm stuck. And he's just like firing himself up, getting more and more agitated. So the best thing I could do is just shut up. Let the man talk. If Jackson's going to sell Jackson, the best thing I can do is smile and nod. Like, I can only get in the way, right? I'm not going to help by opening my yap. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, if you want the shortest version, I got this from Jack Daly. My favorite 4 words sales mastery class is ask questions and listen. Got that from Jack Daly. If I was going to make my small contribution, ask really good questions and listen really well. That would be it. Last frame I'm going to hit you with, and I think this will be a lot I think just this will be able to make you at least enjoy your sales process. I promise your client's going to enjoy the sales process, and I'm confident you'll be more effective as well. Don't go in with the frame of trying to sell something. And you heard Jackson say that. The first guy felt like he was trying to sell something. The second guy felt like he was trying to understand. Go in with the goal of getting everybody clear on the problem and only offering your solution if you're really confident you're the best solution. So if you're the owner and you don't think you can do a good job, we got to fix that first, or your sales are going to be tough, or you're going to be out of integrity. If you know you can do a great job, then just really go in with, I'm trying to understand it and I'm going to help you. And if I know in my heart that we're the best solution, I'm going to fight like heck to help you. And if I know in my heart we're not, try and point you in the right direction. That just takes a ton of pressure off you to be this perfect dancing monkey that gets a credit card and allows you to be like, I'm just here to serve this guy. And funny thing is, when you focus on the sale, you tend to get less of them. When you focus on really getting clarity and helping this guy, whether it benefits you today or not, you tend to make more money. There you go. Long and the short of it. We've got more to say. Maybe we'll do, maybe every 2 or 3 we'll jump into sales again if people dig this. Jackson, you are the man. Appreciate the heck out of you. Guys, gals, thanks for your time and attention. If you like this, but you're like, I need more on my sales process, or I've got other problems, or I have questions, or this isn't enough, feel free to reach out. We've got coaches. All we do all day long is exactly what I just said. We'll jump on a call with any of you guys to get clear on where you're at, where you want to be, trying to help you come up with a plan. If that plan involves us helping you, we're happy to tell you about that. And if not, we'll still try and give you a plan for somewhere else. We do exactly what, if you like the sales process, not that that's what we'd be selling, but that's how we coach. So feel free to reach out. Let us help. We'll talk soon. See ya. Hey, Cleaning Nation, if you dug the content you just got, we don't do any ads and I don't sell anything on this podcast, but if you would just subscribe, rate, and review, it would be huge and I'd be so appreciative. Not only is it going to help me, but you'll help other owners of cleaning companies across the world work less, make more, and get profitable. So if you appreciate the value we give, again, subscribe, rate, and review. It'd mean the world to me. I'd really appreciate it. And we sure appreciate your time and attention.